It's one of those moments that the tennis world was dreading to finally face and come to terms with, Rafael Nadal's swan song on the international circuit. Now, I realize it was easier to talk about his retirement all these months with numbers and an analytical mind. When would Rafa say bye-bye? And what moment would he really choose to do it in? Could he go for another year, one more slam, one more title maybe? That's what he had trained us to believe. The man who always ran down that extra shot on court, made his opponent sweat it out and hit that extra winner. With Rafael Nadal, giving up was never an option when he played his tennis. So naturally, even when we all pondered over his retirement, many of us probably thought there was more reserve fuel left in that tank. That's what his career and his tennis stood for.
With passion, with love, and with the determination to be as good as possible, no? And I am not the kind of guy that I will say, no, I will not change things, because for me it looks arrogant, no? Of course I will change things, but one thing have been so important for me, because I'm gonna leave this professional tour with the calm that and with the personal satisfaction that I give my best almost in every single moment.
The logical side of our brains, of course, was telling us otherwise, how his wins column was dwindling post his hip injury, and he was not the same when he got back. But in Malaga, surrounded by the most fortunate fans who could make it to witness the legend say bye-bye, his loving family and friends, none of those struggles over the past 2 years really mattered.
This tournament has a very special meaning for everybody, for all tennis enthusiasts, due to Rafa's retirement. And that's because he has not just been an extraordinary sportsman, but an extraordinary person as well. That is what sets him apart, because you can be a great player, but if you're not a good person, then it's not worth anything. And I think Rafa has represented that in tennis across the globe.
I feel very sad. Very sad, and I remember playing and watching in 2002, 2003, when Federer. It was wonderful moments, but for 20 plus years he's been a remarkable player. One of the best, if ever best, in the world.
Those fans really summing up what we've felt through these many years watching Rafael Nadal. And even though Rafa ended up losing that match he was playing last evening in the Davis Cup tie, everyone was there to celebrate what a fabulous journey this Spanish superstar had scripted, and how he put tennis and Spain on the global map, stamping his class, particularly on the clay courts in Paris. Rafa seemed to have thought through his final phase with some consideration, how his last year on the circuit would really be. He was available for his fans, the people who grew up watching him play and win, who cheered for him, for whom his tennis and what he really brought onto the sport meant the world. He made sure his family was there in the last year, of course, his wife and his very cute son, Rafa Jr., who particularly made this last difficult phase of saying farewell to everything Rafa held dear easier. His son's presence, in fact, made the journey a happy one for him, of course, yes, and for us too. We enjoyed watching the antics of his smaller version on the court side. And when the emotions were getting to be a bit too much, especially, he chose the platform, the moment and the match to do it in with a lot of care. In Spain, for Spain, and alongside his Spanish mates, showing to the world that whatever he achieved in his career was all tied to his roots. It was for his country. A Davis Cup farewell where the next generation stood alongside him in awe, inspired to at least attempt in taking his legacy forward. An emotional moment for the young Alcaraz as well, who was there. He had big shoes to fill and an even bigger legacy to live up to.
I think he was one of the best ambassador, for tennis. I mean, his legacy is going to be eternal. It is you know, he has been great for tennis, for the sport in general. Yeah, it is difficult, at least for me. I don't want to think that I should continue, you know, the legacy that he has left. It is difficult, almost impossible. He was one of the players that you know, put tennis, you know, in the top of the sport, in the top of the world. So it is just great to have had Rafa in tennis and, you know, in Spain and in my life.
The moment was not lost on the many fans who had, of course, gathered from all across the world. They were moved with what played out last night, and it showed. Many couldn't hold back their tears.
It was very emotional, and at the end there was all the speeches, goodbyes and tears. My mom cried, and I've also got a little, my eyes were a bit red, but I think Rafa was the most emotional.
And so we enjoyed it. We're very happy that we can come again for the next match. We didn't expect it. And Rafa Nadal is a very sympathetic boy, I think. It's a pity that he stops, but I can understand it. And I think it's good for him to take more time for his family and his kids.
And it is this bond that fans and Rafa, of course, share that also brought out the emotions in Rafa himself. Hearing them chant his name would have done it if it was not the Spanish anthem.
I have so many people to thank that it is difficult to start in any way. I will start with those who are here today. Thanks to all of you, the public. Sincerely, it has been 20 years of professional career in which you have taken me flying. Always in the good moments you helped me to win the next point, and in the bad moments you pushed me to keep fighting. I have been able to live with all of you. I want to generalize to Spain, but also to the world. I have felt very fortunate to receive so much love from all over the world, especially here in Spain.
The night would have been incomplete without Roger Federer making his presence felt. In fact, they played out video messages by Federer, Djokovic, Serena Williams, even David Beckham, just to show how Rafa transcended the sport itself. And you immediately remember that opening day at Paris Olympics. The person who was the highlight of that ceremony was none other than Rafael Nadal. Federer's heartfelt note a day earlier was in fact just the precursor of what was to follow. The rivalry, the friendship and the relationship that these two, Federer and Rafa, shared was something that the sport only benefited and grew from. Such episodes in the history of any sport is rare, and the mutual love and respect these two shared made watching tennis during those golden years that much more rewarding and enriching. Rafa ended the night saying all he ever wishes to leave behind. What he wished truly to be remembered for was that he was a good person hailing from a village in Mallorca. That was met with a resounding cheer. I can safely say that there will be many things that his fans and the sporting world will remember him by. The sport will only, though, be poorer without his raging, never say die spirit on the court.